I can hear the fan going.
Oh, yeah, well, the air purifiers and stuff. Okay. They're kind of all going. I don't know which ones you can catch, but...
I don't know why the filters aren't working.
The what?
Okay, I think that's better. Yeah, okay, so the audio should be fine now.
Pretty dark, huh? There. I think it's the one in the bedroom.
I think I can still hear the furnace going, but there's nothing we can do about that.
Okay. Oh, we're live. Are we live? Ah. Alrighty. Welcome to week 4. I think we've done it, right? This is week 4 of Space News read-alongs, and this week I'm just going to do one article. I actually read this one a little bit beforehand, and I just thought that it was so great that I wanted to share it on Twitch and YouTube, I guess, because we're streaming on both. I'm just going to get started. This article is by the Royal Society of Victoria. Unfortunately, I am not familiar with what that is, so I'm just enjoying their article. It's called Falling Stars, and it is by an author named Catriona Nagayan Robertson. She is a senior engagement officer, or science engagement officer. She has engaged. All right, so basically the first paragraph is just saying this is a paper or article about a presentation. And this was just kind of the highlights of the presentation from Wolf Creek to Tunguska, Meteorites and Cultural Traditions. I'm going to skip down to the paragraph right down here. So the falling stars hold a significant place in the traditions of indigenous cultures around the world. They are embedded into their orality in story, song, dance, and material culture. According to Dr. Tyson Yankaporta, pictured in the left, it's this guy right here with the hair, because of the diversity within it. Tyson belongs to the Apalek clan in far north Queensland, and is a senior lecturer in Indigenous knowledges at Deakin University. Indigenous knowledge is a dialogue. It's the yearns, cravings, songs, and dances that change depending on the relationship of the people who are sharing it, where they are from. With so many cultures, stories, and points of view, stories of the sky change according to where you stand. Truth is not an empirical thing, but an aggregate of the stories and diversity. Aboriginal people knew that meteorites formed craters before modern scientists did. Well, they also lived before modern scientists, but still, I get it. Before modern scientists did. Meteors, meteoroids, and meteorites are space debris, describing the same object in different locations. Meteoroids are space rocks that range in size from a grain of sand to small asteroids, 10, is that millimeters? Or would that be 10 in diameter?
Meters,
10 meters, that would be very small. 10 meters in diameter, not so small. When these enter the Earth's atmosphere or other planets, they become a meteor. Burning up as they blast through the atmosphere at high speeds. On impact with the ground, it becomes a meteorite. It's the same thing, different location. They should fix that. What Westerners call a meteor represents the eye of an evil spirit, or death, to many Aboriginal groups across northern Australia. Cultural astronomer, a Professor Dwayne Hametcher, pictured on the left with the hat, has felt privileged to learn how meteors and meteorites are incorporated into Indigenous knowledge systems by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander elders around Australia. In Arnhem Land, a shooting star is Namordor. Mordor, a flying serpent, a man-eater that hunts babies. In the eastern stories, in the eastern Torres Strait Islands, it is a, let's see if we can do this one, Meyer. The spirit of a deceased person set alight on a journey to the island of the dead. Every property of the fireball tells something about that person. Its brightness reflects how important they were in the community. Its trajectory shows where they were from. And if it fragments into Ur, the person has left behind a large family. When a meteorite explodes in the atmosphere and goes boom, that person has reached their destination, called Dum, in the Myanmar. So that's really neat. The stars comprise a set of patterns and stories that reflect change in the landscape. Both sky and earth camps are moving, says Tyson. The old fellas used to tell him that if you don't move with country, it will move you. That sedentary settlements make Armageddons happen. Sedentary settlements make Armageddons happen. Yeah. He spoke of the Gona story from the Bakinji mob. I didn't say that one right. Bayak. Trying to get better at these. Which tells the story of when mobs and clans come together in one place tens of thousands of years ago. They lost their diversity, their different worldviews, their languages. Then the inevitable disaster came. A meteorite struck, killing most of the people, and it burned different patterns into guana species to creating new diversity. In Australia, there are about 30 confirmed impact craters. Some are thousands of years old, and some are billions of years old. They can be simple craters that are smooth, bowl-shaped, made from small impacts, or larger impacts form complex craters. They are more spread out, and the center of the Earth rebounds, forming a central peak. Oh yeah, I see. Is that? Oh yeah, the little point in the middle.
Like when you drop a drop of water into a thing, yeah, it pops back up.
Up in the middle. So the larger impacts, or just the larger impacts from the craters, and the Earth rebounds these craters. So it's the larger ones that have the central peak. I was wondering about that, because not all of them do it. These craters have been featured in Aboriginal traditions for thousands of years. Around 4,200 years ago, a large nickel-iron meteor blazed across the central Australian sky. It fragmented in the atmosphere before striking the ground at 145, well, that's not kilometers, south of Alice Springs on the border of two countries, Ernetti and Loretta. When scientists first visited the site at Henbury Station in 1931, their Aboriginal guide would not approach it, as people were forbidden from going near the crater, as it is where the fire devil ran down from the sun and set the land ablaze, killing people as punishment for not obeying their sacred laws. His people were also forbidden from collecting water that pooled in the craters following rain, as they feared that the fire devil would fill it with red iron. 175 kilometers, right? Yes. West of Alice Springs stands a ring-shaped mountain range called Tenorala, or Goss's Bluff. to geologists, pictured above. Formed by an asteroid 142 million years ago, the central crater became a mountain range through differential erosion as the land around the impact crater dropped in height. Auntie Mavis Malbunga, the traditional custodian of Tenorala, explained to Dwayne its origins in Arnet traditions. In the dreaming, a group of women were dancing as stars in the Milky Way. One of the women placed her baby in a wooden basket. In Turna, when she grew tired of carrying it. Oh my. As the women continued to dance, the Torna fell and the baby plunged into the earth, covered by the Torna. I think, is that ground? I think that's maybe ground.
What is?
Torna?
The wooden basket.
Oh, am I saying it right? Covered by the Torna that, fell on top, forming the circular mountain range. The baby's mother and father, the evening and star and morning star, continue to search for their baby to this day. The arc of stars that form the Corona Australis constellation reflect the fall of the Torna out of the Milky Way. Oh, so it's a baby with the basket on top of it, the mountain range. They're all so sad. All the stories of things. The Wolf Creek crater and Imalol in the Jura language, located in the Kimberley region on the edge of the Great Sandy Desert, is the second largest crater in the world from which fragments of a meteorite have been found. One story told by Dejoro elders describes one of the two rainbow snakes that formed the nearby Sturt and Wolf Creeks emerging from the ground, forming the circular crater. Another story is that the evening star fell to the ground from the sky because it became so hot, causing an explosion. Tyson has engraved many song lines into his boomerang, collecting stories as he travels. Over a decade ago, he was given tektites from a place along the Seven Sisters song line.
The streaming stopped.
Oh. Should I do that thing again?
Yes.
Is this down? It was...
The bottom...
This?
Stop it? Yeah.
Stop it?
And start it again.
Start it again. 3, 2, 1... And we're back. Maybe we're back. And we're not back. Should I... No. I guess I could read ahead for complicated words. Let's see. I'm gonna get good at this. Maybe. At least better. We're almost done. You want me to just go ahead and finish? You think it's something where we gotta go into the things for... So I think next week I would like to do one about Mars. I saw an article about finding Mars rumbles. So it might be a little active as opposed to just a cold dead planet. So I want to read that one all the way through. And we're back. Okay, here we go. So I'm just going to start back at the top of that paragraph. So Tyson has engraved many song lines into his boomerang, collecting stories as he travels. Over a decade ago, he was given tektites from a place along the Seven Sisters song line. The Dreamtime story of the Seven Sisters is widely distributed across many Aboriginal cultures and language groups from the Central Desert to the West Coast. Tyson added this tektite from a shooting star to his boomerang. That sounds like an interesting person. To his boomerang. Sometimes it is there and sometimes it is not. and it will eventually turn up loose among his belongings. It winks in and out of existence in cycles, constantly changing like everything else. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander stories and songlines evolve. Knowledge is constantly growing. The role of sky events is deeply embedded in Indigenous Australian traditions. Is there intelligent life in the universe? Well, the universe is intelligent life, says Tyson, and he treasures the stories of both sky and land camps. Our thanks to Tyson and Duane for their fantastic presentation and discussion. The online meeting with RSVP members can be viewed online. Ooh, the presentation is on YouTube. Oh, I'm going to have to watch that. Neat. And you can watch it too. We'll learn all about shooting stars and the role they played in history. And then as we go into mining stories, we'll learn about the role they might play in the future. So I think that's, I only want to do one tonight. And so we'll do another.